Here we are still on the terrace of the gluttons. At lower right, Dante continues his conversation with Forese, discussing Florentine affairs, past, present, and future. Virgil and Statius walk ahead, and in the background we see a herd of starvelings, whom Botticelli was, as ever, not concerned to link with particular characters in the poem. At center, we have arrived at the next tree, whose unattainable fruit the gluttons are reaching for, involuntarily gaping. In the foreground, Dante and Virgil stare up at the tree from which a voice sounds, scolding the gluttons with instances of gluttony punished. At lower left, the bright angel of the next level appears, directing a dazzled Dante upwards. Pulling back a bit, we can see the full tree at center. At right, the rocky face of the mountain, and at left, the fires of the next level. In Canto 25, we enter the Terrace of the Lustful. At lower right, Dante and a very faintly sketched Virgil mount the barely detectable stairs. At top, we see by anticipation the torment of the lustful. They burn in literal flames of passion, and as they pass on their unending course around the mountain, they must give each other very pointedly chaste kisses of greeting. We have two vignettes of the three poets, who are having an in-depth discussion of where babies come from, both as regards the physiology and how the embryo acquires a soul. While the text is exuberant and witty, the penitent Botticelli finds it rather a grim business, as the faces attest. Dante poses his questions in alarm, and when his curiosity is contented, he looks chastened, while his informants don't look very happy about the facts they have related. In the 26th canto, Dante meets two great love poets, one Italian, one Provençal, from the previous generation. In the text, the sins of lust are discussed in elegantly elliptical terms. The main topic is secular love poetry. Dante meant these flames to be a purification. For Botticelli, they represent the ecstasies of shame. At right, Virgil and Statius look like a pair of physicians, discussing venereal disease with professional detachment, while Dante gasps. At center, a character who must be a love poet is sharing details which make him retch. Dante makes a warning gesture and glowers down in angry disbelief. At left, the poets continue their clinical conversation, while Dante runs off to vomit. This nightmare vision of erotic love greatly engaged Botticelli. He took the trouble to ink this one with delicate pen strokes, while so many of the other illustrations were left penciled. We can understand his wrenching departure from the text if we remember Botticelli's women. Startling in their loveliness, winsomeness, and grace, they are, on one level, exquisite bimbos, elongated, vacant-faced supermodels. It is a vision of woman that is supremely beautiful, but also healthily male and heterosexual to the point of banality. At the same time, Botticelli's traditional late medieval Catholic upbringing, religion always changes more slowly than society, gave him an ambivalence to his own sexual and aggressive drives, which he visually confessed in his illustrations to Boccaccio's Tale of Nostalgia. At the end of his life, under the influence of Savonarola, he rendered as a study in self-loathing and dread of the flesh this canto, which is Dante's fond recollection of the love poetry with which he began his literary career. At the lower left of the illustration to Canto 27, we have a last look at the lustful. Those who stand alone pray for an end to their torment. Those who face one another, required to exchange a carefully chaste kiss of greeting as they pass, have arms up in a warding gesture or shout at one another, determined to prevent any affectionate excesses. At bottom right, Dante is about to enter the flames. The text being illustrated is, word for word, "I looked at the flames, leaning over my joined hands." Dante is now staring into the fire he must walk through as his final purgation. The actual meaning of the text here is, "I crossed my hands over my chest to protect myself what little I could as I leaned forward to get a better look at what was only too well lit." But Botticelli has rendered this as a gesture of chastened shame, in keeping with his reading of the previous canto. At center, an angel welcomes the travelers into the flaming way. We see Virgil encouraging Dante. In the poem, Dante is nearly overcome by the pain of the immaterial fire, but here he seems only horrified that one of the lustful approaches him to beg an intercessory prayer. At length we emerge from the flames. Dante is able now to look at the angel. Previously he was shielding his eyes from the brightness of these beings. Departing from the text of the poem, Botticelli concisely indicates Dante's now exalted spiritual condition. Above this, night has fallen, and the three poets sleep, Dante sheltering between the Roman bards. Finally, we arrive at the edge of the earthly paradise, and Virgil invests Dante with a crown and a mitre. Dante is now a fully realized being with absolute autonomy, physical and spiritual. He is in every sense a law unto himself. Botticelli had no idea what to make of the somewhat Nietzschean conclusion of this canto, so he simply crowned Dante with the laurel wreath of a poet.